Commission. Members present today are several. Tony Teeters, to my right. Gary Edelbrock, to my right. Russ Buchanan, to my right. Mike King, to my right. Michael Murko. They always spell your name wrong, but I've got it. And I'm Robert Burford, Chair. We also have Ms. Kat Moody, our Preservation Specialist. George Worley was here, but also like to welcome Bryn Stotler, Community Development Chairperson.
Good morning, everybody. Commissioners, I just wanted to thank you for your service to the City of Prescott. This is my first Preservation Commission meeting since I started in late August, and I'm delighted to be here. I look forward to working with all of you in the coming months and years. Thanks for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Lots to learn for all of us. Ms. Darla Eastman, our Recording Secretary. And
George Sheets.
George Sheets.
Planning Commissioner.
Yes. Thank you. I was looking for councilman, but not present at the moment.
Good's not here.
Thank you.
He'll show up.
This is an open public hearing and is being videotaped and tape recorded by the city. The proceedings are being televised by representatives of the public media, local cable, and/or radio stations, and may also be rebroadcast. The number of commissioners present is 6, I believe. It will require 4 for a majority on our items today. All parties wishing to be heard on an issue are required to raise their hand and be recognized by the chairman prior to speaking. Speakers will be expected to state their name and address for the record as they come to the podium, so that we may know who is speaking and be able to contact them at a later date as necessary. The usual, please turn off any cell phones or electronic devices. If you haven't already done so, sign the attendance sheet before leaving the meeting. And now I will welcome George Worley. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes of July 13th, a couple of months ago. Have commissioners been able to review those minutes, and are there any comments or changes or typographical errors? Or if not, I would
Mr. Chairman,
entertain a motion. Yes.
it's minor, but my presence was obviously not felt at the last meeting. It says absent. Michael King was there and present at the last meeting, okay?
Duly noted. Darla has that. She's writing vigorously at the moment. Any other corrections, comments on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Second. Those in favor of the motion, raise their hand, right hand, say aye. Aye. Thank you. We move on to our docket today. Our first presentation will be by Ms. Kat Moody for HP 18006, concerns the Santa Fe Depot.
Good morning.
Hi, Kat.
This item is at the Santa Fe Depot. Because we have 2 items on our agenda. The first 2 items today are regarding the depot, so I thought I'd give you just a little more history on this building. This is what things look like on the ground today. We're considering an item in the courtyard here and a sign on the north side of this building. But I just wanted to take a trip back in time briefly and remind you what things look like prior to the Depot Marketplace development. So this is an aerial shot from 1985. Let me zoom out just a bit so we can see the whole. So you can see here the Depot building. This is Cortez Street here. This is the railroad tracks. So the railroad tracks came in to the north. The old trestle bridge is still in place today, traveling right by Sam Hill Warehouse and some of the other warehouses along that track. The Depot building itself dates from 1907, Mission Revival style, designed by the railroad architects that was inspired by the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago. And so this is an early view of the depot prior to the extension that occurred. So this is the view looking west as you would be pulling into the station. This is an old postcard. You can see that the extension here has been added, and the chimney for the smokestack for the heating was in place. That has since been removed from this structure. Prescott really was made by the railroad coming to town. And this is a map that depicts the two rail lines coming into Prescott. The original rail line is in red on this map and is to the west of the main rail line that served the town. This rail line was only in place for 7 years. And so this was laid in a hurry, and it did come into town, and both rail lines paralleled each other through the main entrance into town and did both arrive at the depot site here in Prescott. And the railroad that we all know as the Peavine was built after the original rail. This was the Prescott and Arizona Central, and then this was the Santa Fe, Prescott and Phoenix rail line that came in later on to the west. And that was the rail line that really ended up serving Prescott during its development. So you can see a larger view here of how these rail lines tied into the Atlantic and Pacific Railway. So the first rail line, the Pacific and Arizona Central, hooked up in Seligman, whereas the Peavine or Santa Fe, Prescott, and Phoenix was terminated in Ash Fork. And one of the things that this is a shot of the rail going through what is now Willow Lake. So the original rail line went right through the middle of what is now Willow Lake. So this is a shot that would now be underwater. And you still can actually see that at low lake levels. You can see that the old rail bed, it's still present as a kind of a remnant on the ground on the east side of the lake. So that definitely enabled Prescott to be able to develop, bricks and heavy construction materials, steel, and certainly enabled redevelopment of downtown after the fire. So the depot building is the primary remaining element at this point, because all other traces of the rail are generally have been erased from the site. I'm going to get a close-up here so you can see the existing conditions of the courtyard here. So this request is for improvements to the courtyard space. So this is the historic building. These are part of the Depot Marketplace development. These are non-historic buildings, and the courtyard sits down below the depot. There's a fairly significant elevation difference. There's a stairway here. So this is the stairway that leads from the elevation of the depot down into the courtyard. You can see here at the top of the stairs, this is the depot walkway, portico, and then there's a landscape buffer element here, and the stairway heads down here on the right-hand side of this picture. There's also a handicap ramp that's a part of the access to the lower level. So this is the Streets of New York business, and this ramp heads down to the courtyard here. There are two other terraces of landscaping below the level of the depot. There's this element of landscaping, and then this element, and then this is the actual courtyard space, which looks like this today. So this is the proposal for that space. And I know that this is gonna make the text all upside down, but this is actually north, oriented north at this point. And so what you've been looking at has been this stair, and then this is the north elevation. So these two landscape planters are to be removed, and a stage is proposed to be constructed here. This stage will be below the level of the retaining wall that makes up that landscape element at the level of the portico. This stage is proposed to have these 3 shade sails as part of, to provide shade for the stage. There'll be a couple of steps down to the level of the courtyard. And then the courtyard improvements are slated to be replacing of paving, shade sails in the central portion, and then trees in large pots here to generally improve the appearance. Currently, it's not terribly shady. It's pretty much open. There's a couple of benches and a few tables out there now. And then this is some images to give you a feel for what they're proposing as far as shade sail configuration and then paving surface for the courtyard. So the stage, the shade sails, and the paving improvements are primarily the improvements, and then additional trees in large pots. And we do have a representative from Depot Marketplace here to answer any additional questions, and with that, I'll turn it over to you all.
Yeah, what is the material that, if it's in the sunlight, is it resistant to fading?
Yeah, shade sails are designed to be UV resistant, and so they're designed to take that kind of abuse.
And they would be up year-round? Okay.
Go ahead.
No, thanks.
If you could state your name and address.
Mike Freet with Arizona Commercial, 212 East Gurley Street.
Okay, and the shades are proposed to be up year-round, or I know some
Yes.
shades are taken down and...
Yeah, we propose to have them up year-round.
Okay, thanks. And,
Question?
sure.
You keep saying stage. What is the stage for?
Events of,
So you're gonna have an event,
yeah, for like one of the like Acker Night, if we, somebody wanted to have a performance there.
is this going to be kind of a retail thing where you rent that space out?
We're not looking at renting it. It's more of a, we'd like to use it for an event or something. Say somebody in the plaza, one of the tenants wanted to use it for an event, a company picnic or something like that.
It's not gonna be for weddings or?
No, we're not looking as far as something that big.
And the stage, I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Does it back up to the sandwich shop there, or what does
No,
it?
it would, Do you have the other picture,
Yeah,
Kat,
let me-
of that retaining wall?
To the depot.
To the retaining wall, yeah.
So there's these two landscape planters that would be removed. This retaining wall would
Yes.
extend
Remain,
all the
yeah.
way down. That's a little dark. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
What's the construction time? You said accurate, that's December.
We won't have it done by then, no.
Oh, come on.
No, we would love to, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna work out, so. We're projecting for future, events and stuff like that.
Okay. Kat, I know we're having two items on this. Is it easy to break those apart?
Yes, you should take an action on this item. Even though they're dealing with the same space, the applicants are actually different entities.
And this is the paving, the sage shales, the reconfiguration, removing existing planters.
Right.
putting up new trees. Okay.
Exactly. This is the courtyard improvements as depicted in this graphic here.
Are the commissioners clear on that particular issue? Are there any more questions for either Ms. Moody or the presenter?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
Motion has been made to approve. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I move and second it. the motion.
Second. Those in favor, raise their hand, say aye.
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 Those opposed? It passes. Thank you so much. Moving right on into the next one associated with this site. It concerns signage, I believe, entirely.
Okay, this is located on the same side of the plaza. Let me see if I can lighten this up a little. Oops. It's kind of all or nothing. All right. So this is the face of the north side of the building currently. It still has the Prescott there that, let's see if this is a little better. That's a little better. This is the Prescott, which announced the town when you would pull up on the train. Currently, there is no signage above the windows on this side of the building. There is signage on the other side of the building. So Realty One Group does have signage. This is on the south side. They are proposing to have signage on the north side of the building that is a simple black lettering that is an aluminum black finished mounted directly to the face of the building. This is an unlighted sign. It has Realty One Group Mountain Desert, which is the same text, slightly different style than the signage on the south side. And this is being proposed between the windows and the arched detail here on the north facade. So this will be visible from the parking lot and obviously the courtyard space that you just reviewed. And we do have the sign contractor here, so with that, I will turn it over to you all.
I have one question. Are these letters intended to be put, I think in the verbiage, the letters are intended to be placed directly on the stucco or on the building, and there's also an option for them to stand off, give a little depth to them, shadow, that kind of thing. So I'm just curious what the preference is. Yeah.
Morning, Brian Wywick, 691 6th Street, Prescott.
Thank you.
That is an option to put a little space behind the letter to give it a little more dimension. Our particular design, I don't believe, has that spec in it. Let me check real quick. Yeah, their spec is flush to wall, but there's no reason. The studs that we're going to be using are 2 to 3 inches long so that we can adjust that space as desired.
I'm just curious, sometimes the plane isn't extremely flat, and so you still get shadows if it's not, and I haven't looked at the wall that closely. I think that would work fine to be flat, but is there any opinions from the commissioners on preference on that? I think that would be advised to just see if the plane is flat enough to put the letters flat on the wall. If it is, that's fine.
I believe that the stucco's it's a lot rougher than stucco that we use today. It's got, you know, some real texture to it, but I believe it's not so bad like split face block, for instance,
Right.
where you really do need to have that gap to keep the face of the letters all on the same plane. So we can certainly take a look at it.
Are there any other comments or questions on HP 18-007 for signage? If
If you're
not,
willing to make that change at no additional charge to the customer?
No, there would be no additional charge.
okay. Well, that's just a bit of
Sure.
our advice. So is there a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, carries 6-0. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Our third item is HB 18008, 110 East Gurley Street. I apologize for not declaring those on the other two items, but again, in Historic Preservation District Number 1. This is a request for approval for 2 sign changes, and we've looked at these before, so we will have some familiarity with that. Ms. Moody will present this.
As stated by the chair, we have reviewed at least the large sign on the east side of this building previously. This building was constructed in 1902 or 02, so constructed post-fire, and this is a shot of it in the early 1900s when telephone lines were still run on the poles through downtown Prescott. And this sign was originally painted on the building when it was Valley National Bank. So this is a picture of the Valley National Bank sign on this building. And the sign, for that reason, is grandfathered. It exceeds the current sign code, and it was present on the building when zoning went into place that would have prohibited it. And it's been maintained as a painted sign through the years. In the past, it's been everything from a political sign to its last incarnation as a painted wall sign was this sign, which still sits underneath the canvas panel. So this commission approved in 2015 the conversion of this sign from a painted wall sign, which is painted physically on the brick, to a canvas panel, which is just sitting over the top of this painted wall sign. So this sign here is actually underneath the canvas panel currently today, and the proposal is to replace the current canvas panel with this sign here, the one on the left. So this request includes 2 sign refacings. this is the proposed sign for that canvas panel, which makes the replacement of the sign face much easier for this location. So it's almost always included recently a finger with a pointing finger with indicating where the entrance is to the building. And it often has in the past included the welcome to historic downtown Prescott. So those elements are fairly consistent. And then this is advertising for Realty One Group in the building. And an existing clock sign, this is on the corner of the building. It's on the Gurley Street side of the corner of the building. So this is an existing sign. And the request is to replace the panels in this sign. And this is a two-sided sign, so these panels will match on both sides of that sign that's associated with the clock. And we do have the sign contractor here, so with that, I'll turn it over to you all.
Other comments from the sign contractor or? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I would have one question. I think it's been answered, but just to point out once again that the brick background in the sign is meant to replicate the look of the brick, so I would assume that would carry right on through from the current sign in coloring. And
I think that's the intention, yes.
okay, any questions or comments? Then once again, I would look for a
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve.
thank you, Gary. Is there a second?
Second, Chairman.
Terry? It's been moved and seconded that we approve agenda item HP 18-008, a request approval for 2 sign changes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it carries. So we move along to any sort of update of current events or any other items that the commissioners or Ms. Moody might want to present, or even people in the audience.
I just have one item, and I wanted to let you all know we have started meeting for monthly meetings for the Historic Preservation Conference that will be held in Prescott next June 12th through 14th. And we will offer to send the commissioners to that conference, which is just a very good educational opportunity. The sessions are Thursday and Friday, and myself and Bill Otwell are serving on the committee for planning for the conference. And if you are wanting to participate in the planning or some of the legwork associated with getting things in place for that, just let me know, because I can bring you into that group. And so things are moving along. They have the Hacienda Hotel reserved. The event fills the entire hotel, and certainly there are many more rooms that are sold in additional hotels, but the Hacienda is the host hotel. And then sessions are held there and at the Elks Theater, both in the main theater and on the 3rd floor in the meeting rooms. So the last time we had the conference here was in 2012. So it's been a while, but we're happy to have that back here in Prescott, and it brings anywhere between, in the high 200s to up to 400 people to town during the week for that event. And it includes historic preservation specialists, similar to my role, from all around the state, and then state parks employees, and also archaeologists and tribal members associated with archaeology throughout the state. And so it's a very diverse group, and And I think people really enjoy having it in Prescott, and we've received really great reviews in the past. I know Bill Otwell and I will be doing a walking tour regarding infill development and repurposing of old buildings. So that's my one update.
Every Thursday and Friday, or the meetings you're talking about?
It's June 12th through 14th. That's it. Yeah.
You said you had a committee.
Oh, the committee is meeting the second Thursday of each month from 10 to 11:30. And we are participating via a telephone conference right now. But if you want to be part of it, you're welcome to just let me know, and I can arrange that.
Great. Good news. Good news. Any other items of interest? With that, I would adjourn today's meeting.
Thank you.